Good evening. This is a curriculum committee meeting for the San Benito CISD Board of Trustees. Today is Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022. The chair of the committee is not here, neither is the assistant, so I will be taking over the curriculum committee meeting for today. It is 5:31. I call this meeting to order. Also, just want to let the audience know that we have public comment specific to the administrative committee meeting. However, that's not until the end of the evening. So I'm going to go ahead and allow the public comment to go first at this time. So let me just read the content of the public comment. Before we begin, I will remind our audience members of the board's procedures for handling public comment. The public comment portion of our meeting is available to members of the public who wish to address any topic. Anyone who would like to speak during public comment must sign in prior to the start of the meeting and list the topics they want to discuss. Each public comment speaker will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to address the board for each topic. If more than 10 speakers are signed up to speak on the same topic, all additional speakers on that item shall be limited to 2 minutes. However, any public testimony speaker who requires a translator will receive up to 6 minutes to address the board. Please keep your comments or criticism civil and courteous. Please avoid using profanity and refrain from making personal attacks on others during your opportunity to speak. Lastly, we ask that you do not discuss students who are not your own children. If a speaker is seeking board resolution of a specific complaint, that concern should be addressed through the district's grievance process. District policy DGBA has been established for addressing employee complaints. Policy FNG is the avenue for filing parent complaints, and policy GF addresses community member complaints. Grievance forms can be obtained at any campus administration office or at the district central administration offices. Thank you. Our first speaker is Mary Maney. Welcome, Ms. Maney.
Thank you, Mr. President, Board, Superintendent. Basically, I had 3 things I wanted to talk about. Start with the ugly one first. Challenges from this past couple of weeks. When the budget closed a little bit unexpectedly, I am coordinator for the STEMS program at the high school, so I have 2 major trips, well, the one right now, that got into a little bit of a trouble because I was getting budget money switched from one area into another that I could use, and all of a sudden, $900 disappeared, and we had state championships going on, of which Team Pinky took first in the state and Team Brain is second in the state, now making ranked 3rd and 5th in the nation. And we got a big trip coming up on the 19th, headed towards Talladega. We are competing in the national championships, winner take all. So it's one of these that when we're looking at monetary challenges, this is not a good thing to be dealing with. We have resolved what's going on. And thankfully for community people, we are managing to do what we need to do. But it is one of these that it kind of was a little bit unexpected, even from the bookkeeper who was working with me on part of this. So it was like, okay, now that's enough. That was my unhappy thought. Now my good thoughts. Tuesday was the other week was a really interesting day. I happened to be at school and got kicked out because power wasn't going to be coming on anytime soon. But I do appreciate the fact that you are again jumping into the forefront of this and taking into account our hourly employees as well as our teachers. We don't have any makeup days left in the calendar. We're past that point where this is supposed to be the nice, clean, nothing unexpected happens time. So the fact that you are allowing the students not to have to make up the time, the teachers not to have to make up the time. Bless you for that part. But the fact that you are very proactive on this just happened. It's being addressed at the very next meeting. It's not being waited on until somebody else comes in and says, oh, by the way, have you thought about? You guys are being very proactive on that. I do appreciate it, and I do appreciate everything that you guys have done all the way across the board for these years with the COVID that we're dealing with. You're very flexible, and you are keeping us in mind, which is the important part. And the last one is on the school calendar. I see revised school calendar, and of course, I break out into a cold sweat. I'm going, oh my God, what are they doing to us now? The fact that the only ones really are affected are the elementary school, and that comes back down to they have a very much shorter day than us. The fact that you took, at the last time we did the calendar change, you changed the hours for the elementary school to increase it a little bit, so they had a little bit of extra time. And the fact that the only change that we're going to have to make for this is the elementary school is going to have to do that entire Thursday, and the high schoolers get out, and the middle schoolers get out a little bit early. We're good on that. It does cut down on the amount of chaos when we're trying to plan it on this. So again, thank you very much for being very proactive on this. And, I don't worry about my calendar from the point of view as some of my fellow teachers in other districts, they don't have the board support and the board being so proactive on keeping all this up. So thank you again, and keep up the good work.
Ms. Maney, as always, thank you so much. All right, at this time, we're going to go ahead and move on. There are no further public comments, so we'll move on to agenda item 2.1, review and discussion of the memorandum of agreement between San Benito CISD and Tropical Texas Behavioral Health Center for the 22-23 school year.
Good afternoon, President Moreno, members of the board, Interim Superintendent Ms. Servillon. Our tropical, our MOU with Tropical, let me get to the page, is the annual MOU that we have with them. This is free to the school district. It is in collaboration with the school campus and the school counselors. It has to be parent release for them to access the services from Tropical. Each of the, I did speak with Michelle Nelson, who is the project manager there at Tropical, and they do a background check annually of all the caseworkers and those who work with our students here at our campuses when they come on campus, and that is done annually by their insurance company. So this is annually our MOU that I'm bringing before you.
Okay, board members, anyone have any questions? Okay, agenda item. Agenda item 2.2, review and discussion of the memorandum of understanding between San Benito CISD and Society of Royals for the 22-23 school year.
This is a brand new MOU. The Society of the Arroyos is a nonprofit-based organization based in Houston, Texas, servicing youth between the ages of 5 to 25 years old. They strive to counter the effects of self-hate, neglect, heartache, and general growing pains by focusing on building the inner self. Their goals are to end suicide and to stop bullying by promoting kindness and stewardship. Unlike other empowerment organizations, the Society of Royals reaches out to create partnerships to implement outreach programs in lieu of promoting internal membership. They help the youth who participate in their programs by providing each student guidance that meet their individual needs. They also coordinate empowerment, mentorship, and self-development events throughout the year. They impact the lives of youth by fostering appropriate relationships and building positive values in all youth. Their mission is to create a society of individuals who will exclude, promote, and model a sense of self-love, unity, and growth. In doing so, systems of hate, self-loathing, and self-harm and hopelessness are reduced and hopefully eliminated. Their vision is to help youth become more self-assured, to be successful kings and queens who pride themselves in growing as a person, uniting with others, and providing assistance to one another without judgment. This will be done virtually right now. The support will be done virtually with our students. They do also develop ambassadors for each of the campuses, and it's a nonprofit organization, and it's only for students.
Board members, anyone have any questions? Okay, agenda item.
I'm sorry, I do have a question.
Okay?
Is there a cost to this?
There's not a cost. They have private donors.
And is this going to be incorporated with the other programs that you have in place already for social and emotional
The
development?
ripple effects, yes, it will go hand in hand. Mr. Edisutis, you want to step to the podium? Am I correct on that answer?
So right now, before we continue, Ms. Alvarado, you mentioned ripple effects. So ripple effects is something that we currently have in place already,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And good afternoon, members of the board, Mr. Board President, Ms. Arroyos. Yes, sir. Basically, we do have the Ripple Effects Program. We have that at the, for the employee side of the house, and we also have for the student side. So we have licenses at every campus. And so this is just another resource. When we find resources that are out there that can help augment what we're already doing, and we can partner with them, we're going to, or we're going to recommend that we do. In this case, this particular organization is Michelle Obama's favorite charity in Houston. So they have that type of backing, which is good to know. They will approach our students and ask if they want to fundraise. And these were one of the questions that we had, and we talked about that. But they assured me that if the child is not able to raise funds, then it's all, they bear the cost for that. So we won't have to pay for it, the child won't have to pay for it. And so basically what we're trying to do here is just develop a positive peer leadership program. If you kind of recall the programs of the past, there were like organizations at the elementary, middle, and high school, like when we used to have the Just Say No clubs that eventually became the Red Ribbon, okay? This is a similar idea, except it's trying to foster leadership in the school. So they start with an ambassador program, and those kids are the ones that go through the curriculum first. And you all were provided with a sample curriculum. They would go through it online. Now, although it is self-paced and they can, do it on their own at home, I've spoken to the individuals involved that if we had a sponsor or preferably a counselor that would work with these students and kind of monitor progress, make sure that they're still involved in the program, eventually the things they want to do would be like community service projects. Things that they can do to help their schools, their students in the community. So it's just a positive peer leadership program, and it's just the beginnings, because they even have a program later on that we can look at called STEM for Suicide. The one after the ambassadorship program is called the I Will campaign. And that's specifically what Ms. Alvarado spoke about, where you're trying to deter self-harm, and you're trying to improve self-esteem. So this organization has been involved with this in many districts across the state, pardon me.
Is this research-based?
What they're doing, their curriculum, yes, ma'am.
The curriculum itself, is it research-based?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's been studied and,
Absolutely, and if you take a look, like I said, there's a sample there. So it goes hand in hand. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's also Castle, it's aligned with Castle. So that's the Center for Social Emotional Learning.
oh, okay.
Mr. Edisutis, a question or a comment that you just made that caused me to raise an eyebrow is, how would this work? You made mention of they would work with individual students about fundraising. What does that mean? Can you
If you
elaborate?
I'm sorry. If you look at the MOU, there is a portion there that I wanted to make sure that you all were aware of.
Okay.
Because we did mention that this program is free.
Right.
And it is, but specifically, that's one of the things that I wanted to make sure was brought up, because it mentions that students that are interested in participating in this program, eventually they will talk to those students about the possibility of doing some fundraising, and I believe that they would sell shirts and that sort of thing to people to provide funding for the I Will campaign. Now, assuming that our kids aren't interested in doing that, or it's not going very well, it still does not exclude our students from participating in the program. So we can look at it as a beginning of a peer mentor leadership program, and then we find out, because they are making plans to be here if this is approved. They do have materials that they would distribute. And again, if assuming that things go the way we anticipate that they do, and these programs were to grow, we continue with it. But if not, then we start looking at establishing our own leadership programs in our schools, starting at the elementary and working our way up to our secondary schools.
I'm still unclear, and I
have
just,
the MOU?
I apologize for that. I'm looking at the MOU right now, and up at the top of the MOU, it says the MOU is entered into by and between Agency A, which is the Society of Royals Incorporated.
Correct.
And then Agency B is San Benito CISD. And I understand about it being a nonprofit and all that you're explaining, but then if you go to the second to the last paragraph, the paragraph above letter C, it states in the MOU, in event that Agency B can't utilize district funding to pay for the I Will program, each participant is expected to complete the fundraiser given by Agency A.
I read that, and that's why I wanted to make sure that when it was brought up as far as the cost, that I made sure that that was mentioned. Now, I have, again, assurances from the Society of Royals that if funding is not available or they don't raise money, that it's not going to exclude them from participating in the program, benefiting from the program, because as Ms. Alvarado mentioned, they do have private donors.
Okay. Was this MOU, I'm sorry, Mr. Corona, was this MOU presented to our attorney already? And
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Weller, anything else that you can add, or is it good? Are we good?
I think, and I asked this exact question of Ms. Alvarado, and we went back, and we explored this exact issue, was whether there was going to be a cost to the district, and she clarified that there would not. When you look at the terms of it, it states that they'll either, that if they don't have funding, that they will go through a fundraiser of their own. So it does not appear that there will be a charge to the district.
Okay, and it sounds like a great program. I just want to make sure that we're reading the fine line and that we're not going to.
Absolutely,
you know.
absolutely. And the one thing I want to assure the board is that besides no cost to the district, and they're going to be looking at possible fundraising with students, again, they have assured me, and if I need to get it in writing, I will, that a child will not be excluded because they're not able to participate in their fundraising activities or they don't sell a certain item or what have you. But the items that they will be selling, from what I understand, will be to promote those positive messages like T-shirts that kids and adults can purchase.
Mr. Aristides, on this program, is it gonna be tied into curriculum, or is it a club?
Well, actually, it's twofold because it's like a club. It's an organization in the school, but they have a particular curriculum that they're expected to go through. So if they're going to be part of the program, they need to go through that curriculum, and a sample curriculum was provided for you all.
So is it an extra class, like an elective?
No, I mentioned that they can do it on their own, at their own time. So, let's say that the counselor is wanting to sponsor this and that they notify students, anybody that wants to be involved in this. It's a peer leadership program. There'll be mentoring opportunities. There'll be opportunities to do community service. If anybody wants to give to the community, give to the school, share your time, and that sort of thing. And so once those kids are identified, the counselor can then say, okay, guys, I'm glad that you're here. There's a curriculum that you're going to be going through. And so although the organization says they can do it on their own, what I'm proposing is working with the sponsors and saying, let's put some benchmarks in place to make sure that they're progressing.
Okay.
So in a way, guys, what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen, sorry, in a way what we're doing is we are developing our own ambassadors. We're, promoting what we say, we're actually putting into practice, because the battle's gonna be won at the elementary. And if we give those kids those skills there, little by little, there'll be less intervention in the middle and less intervention in the high school. So this is the beginning.
I would like to add something. I know that we were affiliated, it wasn't the Royals, but we were affiliated pretty much to an organization that was set up like the Royals. And what I can tell you is the reason that they have that fundraising option is because that is part of the service. So the students are given the message that that money goes back into the organization to help other students and to promote, the mission and the message. So that is the emphasis of the fundraising when it comes to that. If the kids cannot fundraise or, partake in it, they are not in any way, shape, or form excluded.
Right.
So it's just a voluntary basis.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any further questions from anyone? All right.
I just
Thank
want
you.
to say thank you, Mr. Eddie Sudis. I know in the past, when it came to curriculums like this, I would ask for the district to involve you. And so I'm glad to see you, that the district is involving you with this program now.
Well, thank you again for that, Ms. Lopez. I do want to say that it's the counselors as a team, because I will take these items and I go through a committee with them first, and then depending on the committee, how they feel about things, then it goes to my monthly meeting. So, you know, when something is brought up in the area of counseling, for example, or library, or dyslexia, or digital behavioral threat assessment, anything like that, it's because I've already gotten stakeholder feedback, and it's something that they really want to do. I wouldn't do it otherwise. It's a team effort.
Thank you.
Thank
That's good
you.
to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that will be an agenda item. That will be an agenda item. Item 2.3, review and discussion of the proposals for Social Service Case Management Program, RFP 0522 SSCMP.
President Moreno, the San Benito School, Consolidated Independent School District is accepting proposals for a student-centered, goal-driven, and systematic, comprehensive social service and case management program designed to address at-risk students' individual needs to ensure both student academic and emotional success by keeping our students in school. The following components should be addressed within the scope of the services. So one, that this organization or entity would be able to conduct an initial needs assessment of the student and family upon referral.
Okay.
Two, develop a collaboration with student and parents, a service delivery action plan for each student, and address the following areas: support student and family counseling, provide college, military, and career readiness awareness activities, address the student's family's health and human services needs, include and promote opportunities for awareness, involvement, and enrichment for parents and families, and provide educational and social enrichment opportunities for students. Number three, conduct an annual evaluation to measure the success of expected outcomes, objectives, and impact of the program on, but not limited to, student attendance, student attitude and motivation, career, college, and military aspirations, parental involvement, student retention, and student graduation. And number four, collaborate with the school and other agencies in the best interest of San Benito CISD students and parents to ensure academic and emotional needs are met. So this is an RFP that was out, and it closes Thursday or Friday. I believe it's Thursday or Friday. We will review and hopefully bring to the board at next Tuesday's meeting.
Any questions?
So am I understanding correctly, Ms. Alvarado? You're going out for RFPs so that you can look to see what companies are out there that can provide these social services to students?
That's correct.
And the deadline is Thursday. I stand corrected. It's
Correct.
Thursday.
And you also mentioned counseling. So I know that we had approved as a board some counseling services that would be done through telehealth. How would that be different?
So this is coming before the board or as an RFP because this is an entity that has worked with our district for a long time, which is CIS, Communities in Schools. However, we had not followed, we needed to follow a proper procurement process. So that is why it went as an RFP.
Okay, that was going to be my other
Yes,
question about
yes.
us having CIS
So-
already. Okay,
Yes, correct.
Thank you for that clarification.
thank you.
So I just want to reiterate, so then because of the procurement process, we're talking about CIS, Communities in Schools. And so basically, from my understanding, is there are no other entities that will provide those kind of services that we get from Communities in Schools, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Any other questions? All right, thank you for that.
I just
As
don't wanna
soon as
say
you
him.
said CIS, I'm okay, now I got it.
And Mr. Weller and I worked together just to be sure that we followed the correct procurement, just in case, and we had not done that, so that's why we're doing this.
Thank you for that.
Yes.
Agenda item? Okay. Item 2.4, review and discussion of the proposals for technical assistance provider for the after-school program.
Our after-school program director, Nancy Casas, from time to time does reach out for technical assistance to make sure we are following all the guidelines of our program, of our grant, to be sure that we are always in compliance. So we did put out an RFP, and we did receive 3 different individuals or services, and we reviewed it, and we chose Westat. Westat currently is the one that TEA supports and has been working already with Mrs. Casas. Bless you. This person is the liaison between district and TEA. It is a guide to district on implementation. It's a requirement with our new T-Class Decision 11. And originally, 300,000 was allotted, and they've now changed it to 150,000. So they are very familiar with TEA, with the grant. We are already using them, and we like to continue with Westat as our technical assistance.
Board members, any questions?
So this is something that you've been doing all along, and it's just for renewal, is that what you're saying?
No, we're using them right now currently for our after-school program, but now that we have the T-Class 11, which will be starting next year, we need to secure them as well for that program.
And it's a requirement from that grant?
It is a requirement, yes. And we do need that support because there's a lot of questions to continue being in compliance so we don't lose any funding. Mrs. Casas?
So, right now, we're using them kind of as on an as-needed basis, and then this way, they're kind of just more on-call.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Hi, how are you?
So, T-Class 11 is separate from the ACE grant. So with the ACE grant, Westat serves as the liaison between TEA, so they oversee all the ACE directors and grants. And so T-Class 11 is something separate, but it is after school as well. And so with T-Class 11, they put an option for 11B, which is for technical assistance. So if we opted out from technical assistance, we would lose the funding in that portion. So it was basically a requirement to get a technical assistance provider. We currently work with Westat, so it would make sense that we stick with the one that we work with currently. They know all our campuses, they know our program, and so it would be me having to deal with the same individual for our T-Class 11.
So you're asking for us to approve it at the next board meeting, if the board approves, and this is going to cost $150,000?
Yes, ma'am.
So do we not have to go out for RFPs or something?
We did.
You already did?
Yes. We went out for requests for proposals for services, and we received 3. 3 of them were submitted.
You had Educational Research Institute, Quality Assured Grant Consulting, and Westat, correct?
Yes.
Oh, okay, it wasn't in the packet, so,
You don't have it?
And we reviewed them all.
Okay.
great. I'm sorry, it is in the packet. It's on the next page. Sorry about that. Okay,
Thank you, Ms.
All right.
Casas.
Any
Thank y'all.
questions?
Appreciate your help.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Agenda item? All right, and last agenda item is item 2.5, review and discussion of the purchase of Texas Curriculum Management Cooperative, TCMPC Agreement for the 22-23 school year.
This is our TEACS resource system. This is the co-op that if we're going to continue utilizing, which has been very effective, and we continue with them. And I'm just bringing this before. We are looking at option B, which is $52,886.
Ms. Alvarado, what has been San Benito CISD's process for attending the, I know that we send a big group to the
TEACSCon?
yeah, the
The
TCSCon,
summer?
but as far as the meetings that are provided by the TEACS resource system on a 6 weeks basis, can you tell us what
I know
how
that-
our
yes.
administrators are participating? Or-
So I know Mrs. Cornett and Ms. Gomez and myself attend every time there is one, so we make sure that we keep up with all of that. We do send a very large group, all principals and teachers attend TEACSCon. I went for the first time last year, and it's phenomenal.
It is.
It is great. So we continue to utilize TEACS resource, teachers. That's That's what they're using in their classrooms every day. If there's anything that is needed in, like, as a meeting requirement, we are meeting those requirements.
Okay. Any other questions, board members? Ms. Alvarado, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dorado.
Next agenda item, 3.1, any committee concerns? Anyone?
No, sir.
Okay, if there are none, I adjourn this meeting at 6:01. I'm sorry, let me go back. This is an agenda item, correct, 2.5?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so there were, no, sorry about that. There were no committee concerns, so now I go ahead and adjourn at 6:01.